Hello and welcome to Windy City Sports. Yes, it's a little different today. We are sans Brandon Combs. Yes, Combs is cheating on me. He left me. He abandoned me in my time of need. He is at the Cubs game now. Maybe we'll get a report from him at some point today, but we do have someone to fill in. We do have someone to come in. We always have someone on the bench. We got Nick Johnston here. He does a show with called Low Blow Sports with Mr. Combs. So he's kind of a home wrecker, but I'll bring him on. Once or twice a week, he steals my partner from me. So how is it being a home wrecker, Nick? And thanks for joining us today. We got a great show lined up. Oh, by the way, I don't do this that often, where you can see us on Spotify, on Facebook. We got a Facebook page. You can see us on YouTube. I think Nick shared to his socials. If you want to check out his socials and comment there. We're also on Dads with Bacon, who's a great network. And we're on a new internet network, Badass Network.
Yeah, Badass Radio Network. Yeah, congrats on that one.
Radio Network. Yeah, so that's our newest one. We're going to be on there on Tuesdays. So this will replay tomorrow for anyone who missed it or missed me. So, but without further ado, Nick, how are you doing today? What's up, my friend?
I'm doing good. A little tired. We went to work today, but I know that's what we were talking about earlier. But I know big shoes to fill. I know Brandon's on. He's on assignment. He went over to. I know he posted it. He said, Cubs game today. We got we got dogs. Then he's going, of course, the disrespect. You're not just getting a milkshake on Thursday. You're going to go see the best White Sox. You're going to see the best baseball being played in Chicago.
They haven't been bad lately.
Yeah, no, exactly. They're 2-0 as of the last two games. So that's exactly how you want to phrase it. And I'm not looking at it any other way.
If the season started today, they'd be or 2 days ago, they'd be undefeated.
Absolutely. No, I appreciate the invite. Yeah, this has been fantastic. So I did do one of those in the morning when Brandon texted me. I go, ear. I thought I was just being a guest, and then I double checked. He's like, no, I want you to come on, step on in. I'm like, oh, geez, all right. So I had to change the mindset, go from just doing co-host. I was just gonna bring the jokes, but brought some facts, brought some stats. So that's gonna be the goal today. So
great. Brandon never brings any stats. He just makes stuff up as he goes along. No, yeah. I'm glad you jumped in. Like I said, I think it's going to be a great show. Shanna already checked in, and this has a backstory to it. She says, as long as I don't see the creep from last week,
oh no,
we are good. I think we blocked Virgil Kane. So we had Virgil Kane is from England.
Oh my.
And he was trying to hit on Shanna, which was funny at first, and then it got creepy.
Yeah.
I think Brandon blocked them.
It'll happen from the people across the pond. I don't know.
Just people on the internet.
Yeah, that's true. Just overall creepos.
Nuts. And he's not even anonymous. We know his name. I saw his Facebook page. Yeah, he really is from England. I asked if he was if his dad was Michael Caine, but that's not why you came to see the show. You came for sports, and we had a roast last night. I didn't even know this was happening. My sister told me about it. And she's like, yeah, it's live. I think it was the first live show on Netflix.
No, they had a Chris Rock live event not too long ago. That was like the first one, and now it kind of had like season finales of their like Netflix shows. But that's the go-to. Everything's a flat circle with broadcasting. They go, oh, we want Netflix. We want to be able to go on demand, and now they're going live again, like TV. So it doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, it's so weird. And this sort of ties into my Fitzgibberish later, but yeah, I mean, it's weird. They're gonna have the Tyson fight on live with Jake Paul. I don't know when that is. July, I think.
Yeah, that's ways away.
Sounds like July. I think it's July, but anyway, we talked a little bit about that before. But anyway, the Tom Brady roast was last night, and it was pretty damn good. You know, there was people were low blows, like there was almost nowhere you could tread almost nowhere you could tread. And we talked about this a little bit before the show, but Jeffrey Ross had an off-color joke about Robert Kraft and his past. I think most people who are listening know about Robert Kraft's past, but he wanted a happy ending during a massage, got caught up, and well, the whole massage parlor I think had a sting on it, and he happened to be there. You know, he's rich. I don't know. I mean, it's just a happy ending, but the case got thrown out. I don't know if he paid for it to go away or what, but the case ended up getting thrown out about a year later. But there was a lot said about it during the time. But Jeffrey Ross had this to say during the roast last night.
That scrawny rookie famously walked into the owner Robert Kraft's office and said, "I'm the best decision your organization has ever made." Would you like a massage? I love Robert Kraft. I love. Okay.
It is kind of funny that only Tom Brady would do that, because the guy is like, he has such a temper. Only Tom Brady would do that. But dude, you could censor. I don't think you should ever censor stuff. People can say whatever they want about me. I'm a fucking idiot. Go ahead. You know, I'm fair game. I even tell my buddies, like, you can comment. They'll watch the show and they're like, I didn't want to comment. I had some shit to say. You got this or that wrong. It's like, fucking say it.
Yeah, help us out.
But at your roast,
yeah,
you can't censor your own roast, can you, Nick?
No, shouldn't have that power at all. I could see through both lenses exactly that. Just don't control the roast. You probably should have known that everything was on the table to be made fun of, but that's also like, you know, probably only a handful of people really know what actually happened with that whole situation. So he's probably just in his mind like, no, if I get one thing to say no to, that was probably the one, and I'll give him the pass somewhat on that. But yeah, ultimately everyone seemed like they killed it. Nikki Glazer killed, Tony Hinchcliffe killed, from what I understand. I kind of catching up on it from what I understand. So,
do you watch Kill Tony?
Yeah, yes, I do. I actually saw Tony Hinchcliffe when he came to the Chicago theater. Oh, not too long ago, actually.
Yeah, it was, and I wanted to go see him. He's great. He's one of the quickest comedians out there. That's always one thing that I really, you know, because that's something you're born with, or you just don't have.
Oh yeah, when him and David Lucas go back and forth, it's the best. It's
awesome. It's great, and it's, you know, it's making stand-up comedy, which is my favorite brand of comedy. It's really what I fell in love with when I was a kid. Me and my brothers and my sister used to watch it, and we used to do quotes from Eddie Murphy Raw, probably when we were too young. Or George Carlin, or guys like that. We talk about George Carlin a lot on the show. He's our favorite.
I probably stumbled upon him a little too early too. I was watching YouTube clips when I was like 8 or 9. Like, oh, this guy, like, the 8 words you can't say. Click. Like, all right, yeah, it got my attention. Yeah, it's this idea of like, yeah, comedy's back. Like, comedy's just back in itself. Like, between just Netflix popping off the way that it is, just podcasts are going off. Like, no one's afraid anymore, which is awesome. Which is absolutely awesome. And you saw a bunch of people there because it was the Netflix comedy special, or it was like the Ha Festival or whatever. So it was like Joel McHale. It was good to see Dane Cook. Like, Shane Gillis was in the crowd. It really looked like it was an awesome time to be there.
Yeah,
backpedal on the one, like I said, on that Jeff Ross joke. Tom Brady isn't. I don't want to make it, you know, I don't know, this, that, and the other. I don't think he's doing that if it's anybody, you know, if it's like Kevin Hart or Randy Moss. You know what I'm saying? I think he was only gonna do that to Jeff Ross because he felt like he had that power, but. I don't want to get it. I don't
probably not doing that to Kevin Hart. That's a good point, and I don't think he should have done it. I think keep your ass in your seat. Like, no one does that in a roast, but you know, Tom Brady, he's got a freaking he's got a hair trigger, so he's gonna do stuff like that. But I don't think it was right, and I think you make it even sound even more wrong.
Jeff Ross comes out wearing a O.J. Simpson whole getup. He says, "I'm gonna kill this white bitch." Like, it's fantastic.
And that's the word. Yeah. And it wasn't even like the joke. I kind of thought the massage thing was coming when he kind of you can kind of hear it coming, and when he said, and then when he finally says it was like it wasn't that great of a joke. Like it wasn't even that funny. Like just let it go.
Yeah,
Like no
exactly.
one's
It
gonna
was
notice the next.
so under the radar. It could have just been so under the radar if he didn't stand up and blow it up like he did. It could have just been
But
exactly that.
now that you're highlighting it, and I do like your point that comedy is back. I mean, we over censored everything. We got rid of rated R comedies, which is one of my favorite form of movie is rated R comedy. Like you couldn't do Tropic Thunder now, and I hate when people say that too. Oh, you can't do this now. You can't do that now. Do it.
You can do anything as long as it's funny. I mean, I know comedy's subjective, of course, but if it still lands right and it's done with the right touch of just everything, if it's done in a classy way, to any sort of degree, it can still comedy can be funny. You can
I
make people
forgot
laugh.
who said it, but they said if you're going to be honest, you better make people laugh, or they'll tear you apart. which is true, and this is another thing about comedy that I think some people don't get. It's not all true.
No,
some of it's made up.
Yeah.
Like it's not what the guy actually thinks. He's performing. You're literally he's doing a character, whether he likes. He could say that this is totally me. It's not. You're not standing. I mean, I guess Bert Kreischer stands up there with no shirt on, but you're not standing up there naked, like saying everything you've ever thought. And you're playing a character basically. And when you're doing stand up, it's mostly you, but there's definitely a character in there for everybody.
Yeah, everyone was saying that you could account that to two things. It was the whole Deflategate, I guess like admitting to it. That was the whole joke behind that. Like people are gonna try and turn that into an act. Like no, that's just a joke. That was like the way he said it, the way that he did, so it can come off as a joke. And if anybody's like,
you're right at the end, he did say that. Like I deflated the ball.
I would tell you that for $20 million. Of course I would. Like exactly. That's not going to hold up in court. But if anything's like anyone playing a character, tip of the cap to Drew Bledsoe. I mean, he actually has timing. Even at the opening, like I don't want to spoil it for anyone that hasn't seen it already, but I'll give you 3 seconds. 3, 2. All right, right in the beginning, Bill Belichick benches Drew Bledsoe again for Tom Brady. So it's just like right away, like boom. But I mean, again, Drew Bledsoe still wins because he got to shout out to his winery and all that fun stuff. So he made the last laugh.
He was a great quarterback. Drew Bledsoe was not a bad quarterback. He even won a game down the stretch in 2001. If you remember that playoff when they ended up winning their first Super Bowl, he actually won. I don't know if it was the championship game or the first round game. He came in and played almost the whole game and won the game. So who knows if they even make it to that Super Bowl if it's not.
Again, he even said it like I had a job after once my contract was done, someone wanted me under like Bill Belichick, so that was a really good. He was throwing in the good ones. He had some good jabbers. So I mean, whoever wrote his stuff obviously was he had some good ghostwriters on that. I'm reading the comment. Yeah, Blazing Saddles. You couldn't do that.
Blazing Saddles probably. Yeah, I don't think it could be done today.
No,
with all the black jokes.
I mean, I haven't seen it personally, so I know it's. I heard
never seen it.
No, I know. I'm out.
It's not raunchy, but it's like it's not politically correct, but on purpose. Like that's who Mel Brooks was. It's brilliant. It's really brilliant. That and Young Frankenstein and The Producers are 3 just brilliant movies. He could have just dropped the mic right there, which he basically did. I mean, he made a couple more movies. He made Spaceballs and Men in Tights, but then I think he brought Young Frankenstein back as a play in The Producers, but they're great. You should watch them.
Okay,
I think they still apply today. They're probably even better today. But yeah,
that's all. I'm always good. As long as the movies hold up, that's always a good point.
But yeah, I mean, I would tell anybody to watch Rose. Tom Brady was great at the end. I mean, I'll give it to him. I've never liked the guy, but I guess at first I did. But I guess I'm a regular American where once somebody gets so good at something, I want to see them, fail.
Yeah,
which he did fail sometimes.
Patrick Mahomes. That's what. Yeah.
But he was very good. And like we said, he joked about, and did he deflate the balls? Like, who the fuck knows? He could just be joking, people. But there is people that are going to take it seriously.
Yeah.
It's like no one knows what satire is anymore. Or fucking, yeah. But, but speaking of satire and funny, Combs is at the game today. So we get to talk about his team. while he's at the Cubs game,
Fun.
which and I do side with the Sox a lot, but I tear them apart on the show. He
Rightfully
sometimes
so.
has trouble tearing them apart. But the Cubs, I mean, you cannot be. Although I heard a lot of angry Cubs fans for the past week, you can't really be mad as a Cubs fan with the injuries you've had and the record that they have. They're tied for first now, with a pretty good Milwaukee team. Won the series over the weekend against Craig Counsell's old team. They did blow a lead. I mean, and that's what I've said. And I want to get your view on this. I said in the very beginning of the season, they did not do enough for their bullpen and they did not do enough for a starter. So they either could have had a starter and then you could put Ben Brown or Jordan Wicks or somebody like that in the bullpen. Now, Ben Brown will be in the bullpen this weekend, but I don't think they fortified the starting rotation enough. Or the bullpen. They could have done either one. They haven't really had a closer in years, like a real closer. Just wanted to get your views on that, just to start to kind of talk about, and I put it up. It's on the title. Is this Cubs team a playoff team? So I guess I'm throwing a lot at you, Nick.
Oh yeah, no, I'll get you. I'll be able to wrap it all in there. To just get the last question first. Yeah, I hope so. I have a plus 180 future on the Cubs to win the division. So
there you go.
I do hope that they, exactly that they go ahead and pan out and win their division. But I mean, exactly what you just said in the beginning. I don't know if any other team is going to be able to bounce back and be as competitive as they are, being tied for the top of the division. Exactly that. Tied with the Brewers right now. The Brewers are going to play the Royals. Cubs are playing. I already looked at it.
So Padres.
Okay, that's gonna be a tough series. But
I hope Cease pitches. I didn't have time to see if he's pitching this series.
Yeah,
but we'll have our production staff look it up. Oh, you already know he's pitching?
who, I'm sorry. Who'd you say was gonna pitch?
I said I wanted to know if Dylan Cease was going to pitch in the series.
Oh, okay, yeah. Maybe the probables are up, but I know Justin Steele is back, so that was one of the things.
Tonight,
and that's exactly that. The injuries. If there's one word right now to put around this Cubs team, it's resilient. It's just the idea that all these injuries piling up. Got Bellinger out. Didn't have, like I said, didn't have Justin Steele up until basically now. It's looking good for them, right? I mean, again, having Madrigal, is that I know your buddy here, Brandon, he gives his flack here, but Madrigal's doing good. Overall, I mean, it's definitely the Shota Imanaga having a .78 ERA, looking like Bob Gibson out there, just absolutely insane. Yeah, it looks like Jeremiah is confirming Game 2 is Cease. So there you go.
Game 2 is Cease.
There we go. That's pretty solid. That'll
be good
fun
to watch. He sort of shut him out last game. He did give up 2 runs, but they were unearned.
My little Cease guy. Hope maybe I can go down to the ballpark and go get it signed, or probably in San Diego with my luck. But overall, I mean, resiliency is the word of the day for the Cubs to still be in this position. I don't know if they have this record without Craig Counsell. I know, again, Cubs fans, every time I hear Cubs fans, it's Craig Counsell didn't do this. Craig Counsell, $8 million man, however many millions of dollars his contract is per year. And then when it's not them complaining about Craig Counsell, they're still mad that Nick Madrigal is in the lineup. So it's a very short leash for Craig Counsell as of late, from like I said, from everything that I'm gathering from Cubs fans. But to still be competitive, it's hard to say. White Sox fans, we're just kind of sitting here like, oh, you guys worrying about wins and losses. Yeah. That's crazy. But to actually, be competitive, have that mindset, I can see where you're like chomping at the bit, like, oh, but you're still in a good spot. You're in a great spot right now. Like I said, Justin Steele probably not going to get the full go tonight, but just to be back in that rotation, solid move. If there's one thing that they need, and again, if it's, losing it to injury, but just not having a bullpen, also, like you said, they non-existent. If there's one thing that they're going to look for in the trade deadline, and I know that's ways away as well, it's going to be someone in that bullpen. Who that is, but I don't know.
I mean, Hector Neris is probably the only one that's been consistent, and he walks a lot of guys. So yeah, I mean, I thought that was the problem. They have the money. I just think this team, I don't want to call them cheap, but I feel like they're trying to save money for I don't know what reason. They could have made a go at it this year and really been more dominant than they were if they got a really top line starter, or even if it was Blake Snell. And I know he walks a lot of guys too, but he's a pretty damn good pitcher as well.
Yeah.
I
mean,
yeah,
Jordan Montgomery was available pretty late as well.
yeah,
I mean,
you're right. You're right. And I just thought they could, or you finally get a closer. I know it doesn't always work out. I mean, you got to throw money at a problem at some point. And he's just like, oh, yeah, but rookie's this and rookie that. Yeah, a rookie can maybe give you a year in the bullpen. It can't start 200 innings. Rookies don't come up and start 200 innings anymore. It just doesn't happen. And if it does, it's a guy that's been in the minors for 3 or 4 years, who's worked up his innings in the minors and has pitched like 160 innings, which those are very rare. You're not going to get the innings this year. I don't think this team is built to make a run in August or September if they're behind in the division. I mean, that's where I see the problem, is that they just don't have the guys to fill up the innings. I mean, that's why they have Hendricks. That's why they're still dealing with Hendricks. If they had another pitcher, I doubt Hendricks is still a starter on this team. Do you think, the way he's pitched?
Oh, Hendricks, no. I mean, I'm surprised that he got the last start that he was able to get in there. I kind of have, I do see that I kind of feel that same feeling with you. If the Cubs don't win this division, I don't think anyone besides the division winner in the Central is going to be able to get a playoff spot. That wild card, the competitiveness for the wild card is going to be off the charts, because if it's not, whoever wins the NL West between the Dodgers is most likely going to be the Padres are going to be a part of it. The Diamondbacks can still put their hand up and say, hey,
Yeah.
we were just there in the World Series last year. We'll be there as well. Whoever doesn't win the NL East between the Phillies and the Braves. I mean, it's gonna be tough to, if they don't snag the Central. I do not see them taking a wild
I don't
card
see
spot.
with the Phillies and the Braves sitting in that NL East. And you're right, the Padres could still be a good team. They're hovering around 500, but I mean, there's still a lot of talent there. And Cease being one of those guys. And I really think Cease is having a pretty good bounce back year right now. I had all the confidence in the world he would, whether he was on the Sox or not. The guy's just addicted to pitching. The way they talk about all the film he watches, he'll watch old Pedro Martinez games. And so it's good. It's going to be good to see him. I'll have to watch
better adding Luis Arraez. How was that? Did you react to that trade at all? That was bonkers.
That is a very early trade.
Oh yeah.
And for a good player, I mean, we saw him on the Twins for a couple years, and he could really hit. I mean, he doesn't hit a lot for power, so the people say that about him, but he can hit a home run. But
his debut, he had 4 hits, so I mean, he gets on base, baby. That's the whole point with that guy. I mean, if he's gonna hit 400, I mean, that's fine. I could probably give up not having the home runs if he's just gonna be a run batted in eventually. So that's fine. I mean, the rich get richer in the sense with the Padres getting Luis Arraez, and that's tough.
I mean, and look, and they're in that division with the Dodgers, they have to do something. I mean, they've spent a lot of money to the Padres.
Yeah. I was also just really excited as a White Sox fan, because I'm like, yes, we're probably not going to have the worst record. The Marlins stink.
Yeah, they probably will. And the White Sox have some rookies that are going to come up. I think this is going to be a better White Sox team. And I guess we could move to there after we share Combs Jr. checks in. Fitz, I can give you a Cubs jersey. You won't have to wear that thing you call a jersey you have on. All right, Combs Jr.
Let's take it easy.
This is an Ozzie Guillen jersey, sir. I'll turn around if I can get it completely around.
Here we go.
But I did get it from a thrift store a long time ago, so he's got a point.
Hey, that's a good place to find all the giveaways when they donate them. Go to your local Salvation Army. I've gotten a couple of White Sox Hawaiian shirts for like $10. Like that's the way to go.
Yeah, there you go. I mean, come on. I mean, back then, I was in broadcasting for real, so I didn't have a lot of money, so I had to save all I could.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, just to close the loop on the Cubs, I don't know if you ever answered the question. As this team is constituted now, do you have them winning the division? Did you do any picks before the season? I mean, I know you put the money where your mouth was, but you think you're going to win that bet?
I like I said, they are looking good. Resilient is the word. If they do not add an arm or anything to that rotation or the bullpen, just anything at all, that's gonna be a question for concern. That's gonna be like, what's going on? What are you doing?
Yeah.
I mean, of course, like I said, the Brewers have just they staying competitive. I thought they were going to fall off a cliff and not having any offenses in any sort of sense. So like, nope, no, we're fine. Craig Counsell not being there, no, we'll be just fine. But I mean, it's been the Pirates that fell off. Yeah, and the Reds are like, still kicking, but just not enough for the Reds. So it's tough. And then the Cardinals just lost 2 out of 3 against the White Sox. Probably nothing to worry about there.
I know, and I guess we could move over to the White Sox then. This Cardinals series, Sox won 2 out of 3. Is the Cardinals bad, or are the Sox getting a little bit better here in your estimation?
Man, the bias wants to say they're getting a little bit better. I know the White Sox getting shut out a couple days ago doesn't help the case there, but
Shut out again. Is that 9 shutouts?
Yeah, I think it might have already cracked double digits. But I said at the beginning of the year on a lot of the shows that I'm on, it's like it's gonna be the season of moral victories. It's gonna be the season of moral victories for the White Sox. Every single day, you're like, hey, didn't get shut out. Oh, that doesn't happen every time. Hey, didn't get no hit. That's the thing to always look forward to. But looking at Garrett Crochet's starts, is he hitting his points? Is he getting control? Is he looking like a solid starter? Things like that. Eric Fetty again has been pretty solid. Just no run support. So seeing a no decision next to Eric Fetty name, it's death, taxes, and no decisions for Eric Fetty. That's basically how it is. But overall, of course, the big differential, the big eyesore is the run differential. I believe they lead the league in negative run differential, already negative 80 plus runs. 83 might be right be where it's at. That's the bad part. There's been a lack of offense off the charts, but again, slowly but surely, I'm seeing Gavin Sheets get a little bit better. He's not getting benched against lefties now. It's just you've seen a little bit of more confidence there in that bat. I'm trying to, like I said, also just look around for moral victories, moral wins.
Yeah, I mean, it was good.
Tommy Pham coming in. The Tommy Pham era is pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, he can really hit, man, and he's not a bad defender either. And Sheets, that's an interesting one. I always like to swing a high ball left-handed hitter, which is really rare.
Leads the league in line drive percentage or something like that. It's like 40+%, and then the next guy's like 30. It's like it's a ridiculous drop.
Yeah, I was just gonna say that, and he hasn't had a lot of luck either. I mean, the ones he's hitting out of the park, obviously, you're not going to do anything about that, but he's hit it right at guys as well. And this is the first time since his rookie season that he's really gotten consistent play time.
Yeah.
Sometimes that's all it is. And I say it over and over again on here. Playing baseball is super fucking hard, man. And if you don't get consistent play time, especially with a kind of a longer swing like that, I would see that you'd have some problems there. Doubting Tom says, I don't know what you guys changed, but this is your best show ever. There we go. Next. Take a bow, sir. Oh, yes. Yes.
No fat one firing guns. Yeah, fair,
no,
fair.
They put it in the rolls. Jeremiah, she hit it in her fat rolls. What's wrong with that?
Hey, there was I don't know if our Jeremiah's our little is a Cub guy, but you got to be careful out there. There was a shooting there the other day, so it's unsafe all over the place. I'm not trying to call balls and strikes, but
yeah,
right down the
there
middle.
You go. Yeah, I mean, but you're right. You have to find moral victories with this team. Colson Montgomery got brought up to AAA as well already. Started the season in AA. I mean, I'm guessing they're going to bring him up. I would think that they're going to bring him up at some point in this season. I think he should either be playing second or short. DeYoung's done pretty good, but Shoemake, I like the story. He bats lefty. He's a great defender, and he's got a little bit of pop in his bat. But he's batting like 130 now. I think he can end up being a really good utility player. But you got a player, Colson Montgomery, on most lists, top 10 prospect in baseball. I don't know if you've gotten to see a lot of them. It's kind of hard to. They used to broadcast some of the minor league games, especially when they were doing the real rebuild. I don't know what we're calling this, but I don't know if you've seen much of them or what's your view on bringing Colson Montgomery up.
I just hope it's, not don't want to pull the trigger too soon. We all saw what happened to Jackson Holiday earlier this year, but
Mhm.
that's of course two different things. I just hope, of course, like I said, the hype is real around this kid. A lot of people, a lot of White Sox fans have been hyping him up and talking about it for tons of time now. Like I said, I haven't seen a ton of his stuff, but again, it's all just the highlights I am able to see. I like it. I like the idea. So it's second base has been a need since I don't know, since I was a toddler. I can't think of it otherwise, but you know,
It has been a
double
long
A
time.
again, moral victories. Double A is winning a ton. Sure, Triple A White Sox not too great, so maybe Colson can help out his hand there. But it's been Colson Montgomery getting the talk of the town. Also a little bit of Drew Thorpe making it
Yeah.
being talked about again. Might be the real deal. I don't want to say anything outlandish, but that's the hope. So thank you for New York if that's the case. But yeah, that can be the bright spots. That's something to look forward to. I still like Paul DeYoung. He's got us a couple of home runs and that every now and again. Again in that Cardinal series, good to see people giving him his
Dude.
flowers. The fans were cheering him, so that was pretty cool as well. But the young talent can be getting up there, but I also see there's been also talks of a couple of trades being being talked about. So we'll see what happens. But I like this sooner rather than later for Colson Montgomery, hopefully.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I would like, I mean, if this season's lost, come on.
Mhm. Yeah.
And I think these guys can even help you win. I do believe that if you bring a guy up too early, you can mess with his development. I mean, even Schwarber, I think the Cubs brought him up a little too early. He had to go back down to Iowa. If you remember Kyle Schwarber going back down to Iowa, and like you just said, Jackson Holiday, who was the best on many lists, the best prospect in the sport, had to go back down. So I mean, it happens. I mean,
Yeah.
he does have the pedigree. I'm sure the kid will be fine, but they even said, even going way back in the White Sox time machine, you could say Gordon Beckham maybe was brought up too early.
Yeah.
Batted close to 350 in the first half of his rookie year, and then just never was able to hit that way again. The league adjusted, and he could not adjust back. So yeah, you worry about it. I think the kid's got enough talent. Been following him for a while. I think he'll be up this year sooner rather than later, but and we'll see what happens there. And Drew Thorpe, he's another interesting one. Throws a lot of strikes. He led the minors, I think, whatever minor league he was in last year. I'd have to check it, but he led that league in strikeouts as well. And he's really not a strikeout pitcher. He's supposed to be a guy who really just throws a lot of strikes. Tries to get by on grit and guile. But he seems like an interesting piece too. And then we had Brian Ramos, who came up, got his first hit and first RBI. He got his first RBI without ever even having an at bat, which is kind of weird because he got a sac fly in his first at bat.
Oh, that's cool. Okay.
Yeah, so that was kind of a weird stat to have, but he also got a hit yesterday. Interesting player. Never a highly touted, or we just talked about a guy who had pedigree in Jackson Holiday. Brian Ramos never really had a pedigree, but just played really well. Third baseman. You definitely need a third baseman right now because Moncada's not coming back by anytime soon. Did you see any of the at bats yesterday from Ramos, and what do you think?
Yeah, nothing that stands out. It's like, whoa, this kid. But
Yeah.
as long as you can get in there, get some at bats, get some major league looks, that's going to be the goal. If does he stay when the team gets a little healthier? I'm not entirely sure. But yeah, just the idea of get him up now, have him get some major league looks, get a major league at bat, and again, you said it. As much as I want to think the hoorah or the major league, the what was the A's movie? As much as I think that there's going to be, Moneyball, as much as I think there's going to be a comeback mid-season, I don't think so, champ. It's not in the cards. But yeah, again, you have him come up, have him getting at bat, have him getting his first RBI of his career. That's good. That adds to the confidence, that boosts it up. So hey, maybe he does become a solid rotation guy or just becomes a bench guy. That's perfectly fine.
Yeah, and I think that's what the one great thing about baseball is. In football, if you suck, like no one's coming up to be great. I mean, maybe you got a quarterback on the bench you think's going to be good who plays a couple games, if that's even possible, but no one's coming up from the minors. No one's coming up from the developmental NBA league to play and be great. No one's doing that in the NHL either. The cool thing about baseball is you can have a star just come up all of a sudden. And he's just sitting in your farm system. He's not ready yet. Going back to how hard the sport is, takes forever for these guys to get good at the sport. Very few guys are just Mike Trout, where they're all, they're fantastic right away. Very few guys are. There's been Hall of Fame players who suck to begin their careers. So I mean, there's been a
Marcus
lot.
Semien on the White Sox I didn't think he was going to be an AL MVP or MVP. So
Yeah, no. I didn't see that. I thought he'd always be a good hitter. I thought he would never stick at shortstop, but actually became an okay defensive shortstop and can hit the crap out of the ball. Yeah, I did not see that coming. I didn't. And,
does that one sting more, or is it still the Tatis? Does that one sting more?
The only thing that doesn't sting about the Tatis is, he was 18. Like, you really didn't know. He did have the pedigree. His dad was a pretty good major league player, so you thought he could be good. But I just don't like that they went after Shields. Shields was done. He was getting rocked for the Padres, and he's going to come in and help you. And I guess something good sort of came out of it, even though, the rebuild didn't work. But after that trade, they were rebuilding.
Yeah.
Because you're mortgaging your future again. And, Shields was just so bad that year. He just got rocked. What was that, 2016? And then right after the season, they trade Adam Eaton in one of the best trades, I think, in the history of baseball.
Yeah,
absolutely. I mean, they get Giolito, they get Ronaldo Lopez, and they get Dane Dunning. And Dane Dunning became Lance Lynn. And yes, Lance Lynn's bad now, but he was great when they traded for him. He almost won the Cy Young. If he didn't get hurt later in the season, he might have won it that year. He was in the conversation for it in 2021. So I mean, that great trade. And now they trade Giolito again, and now they got Eddie Quaro, who could be a great switch hitting catcher. He had 3 home runs in 2 games this year. He's another prospect that could be coming up. All of a sudden, they have a pretty good farm system after having a bottom third farm system for a few years now. So,
yeah. I mean, I personally did like the Dylan Cease trade on paper. You're like, oh, who are these guys? But, just improving. If you're looking at the way that they were like mid-20s in their farm system, and that trade bumped them up to right around middle of the pack. Yeah, that's fine. Just improve, please improve. And then, of course, that's all projections and prospects. So that can even be better than what they expected. So I'm all for that.
Yep.
I'm also just like that stigma of like, oh, if they leave the Sox, they're gonna be better. It's hitting only at like a 40% clip, maybe, because Tim Anderson's bad, and Jake Berger, he was doing well, but then he got hurt, and then I'm not really sold if if they trade off Eloy. I don't think he's gonna do well if he's even playing. But it's guys like Chris Sale who having just a resurgence in their career out of nowhere, and then Ronaldo Lopez is now the best pitcher of all time, apparently. So I don't understand where that just clicked. But I'm also I'll even piggyback a little bit more. Not a former White Sox, he's a former Angel now. So all these former Angels are doing pretty good. Shohei Ohtani, former Angel. Ronaldo Lopez, former Angel, doing pretty solid. So it's whatever lens I want to look at it through this time.
I wish him well once they leave, especially if you didn't pay him. I wish him well. And Giolito's hurt, out for the season.
Yeah.
So I mean, and Lance Lynn, he just wasn't very good. But and they ended up getting Nick Nastrini for Lance Lynn, and I forget the reliever, but they end up getting Nick Nastrini, and I forget the pretty good bullpen arm as well. So I mean, I don't think the trades were all that bad. I would have liked better position players. On the trade with Cease, I wanted a stud position player because that's what this team needs. They can't hit. They can't hit.
Yeah, relying on the guys that I mean, just don't show up. They don't stay. They don't stay around long enough health wise. I mean, I would love to see what Luis Robert could be doing right now, but just the injury right there.
And
Moncada
since we're here, what is with running to first base?
I don't get it. I personally, I don't know what it has to be person by person because Eloy is kind of half-assing it. Corey Lee decides to slide to first nowadays. I don't get that either.
Feet first too.
Oh yeah, feet
Corey
first.
Lee
Yeah,
did it the one time. I don't know if he went head first the next time, but he goes feet first. He probably is safe on that play. We probably watched the same damn play.
Yeah.
It's like, why are you going feet first? I mean, neither one makes it quicker, but at least wouldn't you go head first? Wouldn't you go hand?
Absolutely.
Like,
yeah. No, you
always slow down.
You run up the base. Yeah, exactly.
Jeremiah, we're a AAA team for the league. We bring up, and if they're any good, Jerry won't pay them, so we trade them.
Yeah, there's definitely some truth to that.
It's
I also
hard
did
to disagree with. It's
go
hard to
ahead.
disagree with that. They were the top 10 in payroll. I mean, even though he won't pay one individual player, they were the top 10 in payroll in the last like 2 or 3 years. But you're right. They don't do a lot of that long term, and the really good talent they do give away. Jeremiah, I have to give you. It's hard for me to give it to you, but I have to give it to you there.
It's that I mean they're also just talking about how like, oh, look at how close the AL Central is. It's like it's just because the AL Central teams are beating up on the White Sox right now because the Twins had a 12-game win streak. 7 of them were from the White Sox. You can't make that comparison. You can't. You're like, oh, look at us. Like, don't look at our record, but don't look at who we play. But we're on a 10-game win streak. We're doing all right. Like, I don't know.
Yeah. Well, I think we closed the book on the Sox for now, Nick. But
I think so.
Appreciate all the points. And that's the music, if you didn't know, for Fitzgibberish. It's a diatribe, it's a conspiracy theory, and yes, it's an island in the middle of unapologetic and sometimes inaccurate sports talk. Could not think of that other reliever, 2 relievers with the Sox today, so I'll give it to myself. Nick, you've done well. I didn't hear you get anything wrong. Maybe you did. Maybe Jeremiah will put it in the chat. He's got nothing else to do. But anyway, here we go. Somewhere around 20 years ago, they started running commercials right before movies in theaters. I don't know if anybody remembers this, but I did. It was kind of like a hooker telling you about her childhood after you already paid. Let's get on with it already. Anyway, when they started running these commercials, there were a couple audible boos in the theater. But then we did what we always do as Americans. Our eyes glazed over and we took it. It didn't make any sense. I am paying you to play a movie for me at a high price while overpaying for food and drink. I don't want to know about the new Range Rover. Or I don't need to know why Samuel L. Jackson uses a Capital One card. I want my Samuel L. Jackson like this.
How's it taste, motherfucker? Oh!
Can you stop yelling at me, please?
No, I can't stop yelling, because that's how I talk. You ain't never seen my movies? Samuel Jackson, it's my beer. Yes, they deserve to die, and I hope they burn in hell.
I still miss that show. But anyway, I wish I could say this does not extend to sports, but it has got even worse in recent years. It even has some history tied to Chicago. Not with commercials specifically, even though there's too many commercials in sporting events, but putting a paywall or a subscription behind my goddamn sports. When did this start being a thing? Going back into Chicago history, no one watched Hawk games for years because Bill Wirtz put home games on Hawk Vision. I don't know if you remember. You probably don't remember Hawk Vision, Nick. But anyway, almost nobody had it because you had to pay a subscription price for it. And it was only for home games. So people just didn't watch the Hawks. Bill Wirtz wanted people to come to the stadium. That was his whole point. But Once Bill Wirtz died, Rocky Wirtz dissolved Hawk Vision, got rid of it, and had a whole new generation of Hawks fans. Winning 3 cups helped too, I think. But the only issue now in business, for whatever reason, Bill is seen as a visionary for starting Hawk Vision, while Rocky, the son, is pictured as out of date. God rest his soul. Of course, I know one reason is money, which has been America's God since forever. Now on Fridays, you have to watch baseball games on Apple TV, and Thursday Night Football snooze is on Amazon Prime. Both subscriptions that you have to pay for. And more is coming, I'm sure. This is going to spread to a bunch of different sports, if it hasn't already, and I'm just not, privy to it. We'll pony up to like mindless zombies for the love of the game. Why in the hell does everything have to have a subscription these days? I can't just buy something anymore and have it forever. We have to have too many goddamn subscriptions. We have apps right now to get rid of all your subscriptions if you have too many that you don't know you have. That's pretty sick, people. It has another effect that we've talked about on this show a few times. TV and media is getting too broken up, too stratified to so many pieces that it's not a communal experience anymore. Is my boy even going to watch ball games with me when he grows up? Is he going to be a Sox fan? Will he even care? Anyway, I got nothing wrong with capitalism, and I understand getting pissed at Apple TV about buying baseball games and not mentioning that they manufacture their phones on the backs of slaves. smacks of privilege. But this is my 5-10 minutes a week, so go fuck yourself. We are Americans. We love to protest about countries who don't speak our language at places we couldn't point to on a map. Why not this? Are we going to let them put every sport we love behind a damn paywall? I should have done what my first impulse was all those years ago in the movie theater and thrown a brick at the screen. And waited for the Blockbuster to come out on DVD at Blockbuster because it was that long ago. And that's Fitzgibberish, my friends. Nick.
Yes.
Thank you, sir.
Fantastic.
I mean, we kind of talked about it on Netflix having now live. Now, how long till they have live sports? Well, they're already having the Tyson fight.
Yeah.
I
mean,
mean,
getting WWE next year. No, they're getting Raw.
Oh, I did not know that.
Yeah,
there you go.
2025. I mean, that I'm right with you with that whole thing. I mean, I'm kind of it gets confusing. It's like, oh, what game of the week or what playoff game is now going to be like? I got to pay for this one now. Yeah, I'm very much against. Peacock is annoying. Peacock is so annoying for those games, or just like I said,
what does Peacock do now?
I think they have baseball games every now and again.
Oh yeah, they do.
Yeah.
Jeremiah says I refuse to buy Peacock.
Yeah, it's not worth it. Again, as a wrestling fan, when they moved the WWE Network over there, it became such a pain in my ass because it moves so slow on the actual WWE Network previous that they had. It moved actually like Netflix. You could go around, you could see pay-per-views by the year, and now it's like pay-per-views by season. Like, yeah, it's such a bad way to do it. And then Apple TV is the absolute worst. The other day, can't watch the Sox. Oh, why? They're on Apple TV. Well, okay, well, just not gonna be able to watch that then. That's just an absolute eyesore. Not dealing with that.
I remember when they would have 100 Cubs games on WGN, and they'd have 40 or 50 Sox games on WGN.
Oh yeah, the WGN broadcast I miss so much. When I'm watching old highlights of like when the Bulls were good, like you just see Derrick Rose and you see the little blue WGN like score bug, and you're like, oh man, we're right back at home. This is exactly what it is. I mean, to also maybe piggyback off that, if you got, I mean, I don't know if I'm in the minority over here. I might be. I'm a big physical media guy. I buy just about anything and everything on DVD because, again, with this whole everything's on a broadcast, everything's on a streaming on a network. they're going to be able to edit those and take episodes away from you eventually, or just your favorite movie. They're going to be like, oh, that's offensive. You're not going to be able to watch that anymore, and just take it away. And then boom, you're just out of luck. You can't watch that anymore. There are countless examples of all that. There's edited episodes of The Office. There's episodes of Always Sunny on Hulu that are just straight up not there. And then there's some of the funniest ones. Again, just like who are you to decide what's funny and what's offensive and not? It's ridiculous. So
yeah, and the trigger warnings.
Exactly.
The
But they
trigger
can't take
warnings
it away if you have it on DVD. So that's where I stand on that.
Yeah, I watched. Yeah, and Christopher Nolan has talked about this after he did Oppenheimer. He said, I would buy this on Blu-ray just so you have the movie. If you really liked it that much, just so you have the movie, because I don't know when this is going to get pulled down because he invented the atom bomb. I don't know when something else might get pulled down that I've done. If you want my catalog, I would buy it on DVD just so you have it. I mean, I could totally get that. And just it says something when like everything has to be based on money. Don't you want your sport to be popular too? Don't you want your team to be a little bit more popular? I always thought the fact that the Cubs sided and stayed on WGN, which was actually giving them less money. Now, granted, I think the Tribune company somehow owned part of WGN, but that owned the Cubs. I don't know where that stands. But anyway, that's what made them so popular. But believe it or not, a lot of people don't remember this. The Sox were actually more popular in the 70s than the Cubs. The Cubs were not that popular of a team. They were really bad. They only had that 1 year where they blew it. And I think that was actually in the late 60s.
Yeah.
But the Sox were actually a more popular team. And then all that stuff happened where Sport Vision started right around there. And now Jerry Reinsdorf wants to start another network. And the Cubs were on WGN. And WGN was played in a lot of different states then. So you had Cub fans all over the country. Right.
I had an uncle that lived in Alabama and that was still able to watch and still able to keep up with the Cubs and stuff like that. Even he's been moving back and forth, but it's just like it's exactly that. You people from Atlanta, Alabama, all across the Midwest, they're able to watch Cub games, and that's exactly that because it's free. It's as simple as that. People don't want to be in that exclusive club. Like, oh, I get these bells and whistles, or I can watch it through the butthole lens or whatever extra camera that they have. It's like, I don't care. I want the game. I want it right in front of me. No extra. I would even I of course respect and I love the whole broadcast aspect of it. If it was just bare bones, if it's just the raw camera footage, I would even take it at that if that was just free. Give me that. Give me the game. I don't mind.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, if they just had like a couple of cameras and like nobody broadcasting it, like why not? I mean, I just think you're taking something that was free and now you're making it totally like it's not a part of your cable package anymore. Even when they started putting football games on ESPN, I thought that was a big shift. And no one really, put up a fuss, but it's like, well, now you got to pay for it. You can't just have an antenna to watch your football team anymore. I just think if we put up a little bit more of a fit over it, I think, and fucking the Amazon Prime Thursday night games are terrible. Yeah. And they're never good. The guys can barely run. they haven't even like overcome their last game on Sunday.
Exactly. It's a nice idea on paper. Yeah, having those Thursday games, a nice idea on paper, but they simply cannot recover after going through a car crash on Sunday. Like, all right, let's do the same thing on Thursday. It's not enough time. It's simply not enough time.
Yeah, exactly. Megan Teefsay says people don't watch baseball anymore as a collective whole, not new. And I wish I could disagree with her.
Baseball is the absolute worst at, selling their guys.
And marketing. Yep.
Yeah. You wouldn't know that Mike Trout is the best baseball player, or arguably was at the time, because they wouldn't put, MLB doesn't have any marketing like that. They're just not very fun with it. I don't think it's not.
You have the Tom Brady of your time. If Tom Brady could also sack the quarterback and Shohei Ohtani. Yeah. And you can't sell him. No. He's even gets marketed in other countries better than he gets marketed here. Yeah. Mike Trout, you couldn't sell. who was putting up numbers no one had ever put up before.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, NBA does it the best. They're the most global and like the most recognizable. Obviously, everyone would be able to recognize Jordan before they even had a chance to be like, oh, that's Cody Bellinger. Like, I mean, no shot at Bellinger or just anybody. It'd be on the Sox too. Just like wouldn't have a shot.
Yeah, and if you remember on social media, basketball was the first team or the first sport to put all their highlights on social media right away. Baseball took forever to do that. Now you're losing young fans. If you wait 4 or 5 years, you're losing a lot of young fans who now they're seeing the sport a lot more, but they weren't 10 years ago when you could have started that.
Yeah. I'm actually glad that, the pitch clock, stuff like that can actually get more eyeballs on it just because it's more palatable. It's not a 4-hour long game anymore. And people are actually like, oh, I can go to a game and still be home before bedtime. It's just little stuff like that.
Yeah, that was the only new rule I actually liked. I didn't like the other rules. I think you should be able to shift. The field is big, hit the ball. Left-handers.
Yeah, I always thought that too. Yeah, you're a grown adult. You're getting paid millions of dollars. You should be able to hit the ball anywhere. I mean, literally, Gavin Sheets is learning to do that without the shift.
He
now.
is.
Yeah,
you're right. He's hitting a lot of balls to left field now, and really trying to do that a lot more. Jim Thome was great at that. He would have a lot of opposite field home runs. That's what made him a Hall of Famer.
I was also 50-50 on the pizza box size bases now, but I'm coming around to that.
And Jeremiah's in Central Indiana, so he's talked about this before. He's a diehard baseball fan, and he can't watch baseball. That's part of the problem. I'm somehow in every market, so he gets blacked out, which is another dumb thing baseball does. And
but you get Indiana Fever games, buddy. That's gonna be fun, right? Kalen Clark, Billy Kidman.
And attendance is down this year too. Across the board, attendance is down. So yeah, I mean it's a problem for baseball right now. I think they had one of the worst viewerships of a World Series this past World Series, or it was really bad numbers they had.
Too small markets. It's bound to happen.
Yeah, true. But still, I mean, it's not a good sign for baseball. You're not selling the sport right. And I don't think Apple TV, you're right, is not doing them any favors.
No. If anything, complete negative, obviously. I mean, the broadcasting is brutal. The just watching it as it is visually, it's not pleasing. It's really and plus they're always on at like 11 in the morning Central. So it's like I can't even watch them. I'm not even up. All right. Or if I am, I'm working or something like that. So
yeah. Yeah, and Shanna mentions the strike. I don't know. I think baseball came back after that because of the steroid era.
That's true.
Kind of brought baseball back after that, but that was a dirty era, and especially since the Sox were probably going to win the World Series that year. They had Wilson Alvarez. They had, Blackjack McDowell. They had Frank Thomas. They had a lot. Tim Raines was still a really good player. They had a lot of Robin Ventura. I mean, the list goes on and on. When they went on strike, when baseball went on strike, but it's a good discussion to even have. I mean, I just don't. I think they're the worst marketed sport. I think you're right. They don't know how to market any other players, and it's weird because in football and in hockey, and I guess hockey has its own problems, but in football you don't see the guy. He's got a helmet on and all these pads. At least in baseball, you see the guy. He's right there. You could do something with that. Can you? I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, no,
it's my favorite sport. It's just sad to see where it's gone. What's that?
They literally call it helmet face when it's like NFL players or NHL players.
Yep.
Like it's the idea that they go out and maybe spend more because like, oh, you can't recognize them because they have the helmet on or something like that. It's just something like that aspect. But no, you're exactly right. I can most likely point out. I mean, definitely someone's gonna be able to point out who Ray Lewis is before they know who Cal Ripken Jr. is or something like that. So
yeah, which is sad too. Or even the history of of baseball. I don't even know who Ted Williams is, for Christ's sake. But no real transition here. We're just going to shift gears to the Bears. If you have a few more minutes, I'd like to at least talk a little bit about them and their roster. So the draft is over. We were both at the draft night. We got to talk together a little bit about some of the draft picks. I didn't get my left tackle on day one, but I eventually did.
Smart guy too from Yale.
Well, yeah, I know. Supposed to be a smart guy. I mean, they ran the ball, I think 60% of the time, we were saying, but he does have the size and the makeup to be a left tackle. But just looking at the roster and the depth chart, obviously we know who the quarterback is going to be. We know who the receivers are going to be. We have a lot figured out on the offensive side of the ball, except maybe, and they have Coleman Shelton, the undrafted, a free agent. Well, he was undrafted I believe when he started with the Rams, played a couple years, and then I think he started most of the games last year at center for the Rams. Doug Kramer, our pick from last year, is going to be the backup for him at center. Or if there's any other part of the team, we don't have to start there. For you, what does this team need maybe in free agency, or do you want to see some sort of trade?
Yeah.
Or is it not even on the offensive side of the ball? I know there is some weak spots on the defense.
Yeah, you can always add to the line. That would be nice. I mean, maybe just that idea of who can maybe replace Nate Davis, because he's always spotty. Yeah, defensive side, I want to say everyone's locked down, but if it's not the starters, it's simply just getting depth. It's just simply getting depth at that point. Just maybe add a couple of other veteran guys, a couple other veteran names. I mean, just having the name like Kevin Byard there. When he was hyping up the team, when he first came in for his interview, he was just like, "Oh, this is a team. We got a defense. We're ready to roll." I mean, I was hyped just from that. So it might not be big name guys, because honestly, it's super under the radar the way that the Bears were able to move. Re-signing Montez Sweat and Jalen Johnson, if those two go up on free agency, I mean, they are the number one at that position for that free agency spot. So I mean, that was the most important part for the Bears, making sure you lock those guys up right away, and glad that they did. So with that being said, yeah, just depth would be on that part, because I mean, offense, I can't wait for the offense.
Yeah, I know it's going to be fun. It really is going to be fun to watch. I would have liked to have had a new a surefire center and a beast for a left tackle, but I was talking to Combs about this last week, and I think his eyes opened up, because I've wanted a left tackle for years now, but it just seemed like Odunze just made sense. Like, looking back on it now, sometimes that happens in life where you think, this is what they need, or this is what I need, and then something else happens, and you're like, you know what, that actually works.
Because I mean, any other draft, Odunze is going to be the number one wide receiver. So I mean, you needed to take him right there.
Yeah, and plus I think Keenan Allen wants money, so prove it, dude. And that's actually one part of the team that we can actually talk about. I mean, that's a crowded wide receiver room all of a sudden. And, I mean, their first wide receiver was Darnell Mooney a couple years ago. So, I mean,
good luck,
it's
Atlanta.
a crowded room now. Like, who's getting the ball? And if you had a pick between, DJ Moore, who you're going to have for another year after this year, you have him for 2 more years, this coming year, and then the next year. Keenan Allen, this is his last year on his contract. Or you have Odunze, who's on a rookie contract. So you got him, for 3 years, and then whatever you do with the option from there. For me, if I'm talking to Caleb Williams, I'm throwing it less to Keenan Allen, just because maybe you get him on the cheap for the next year or the next couple of years. It's dirty.
If you're making business moves, I can see that. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I just and how does this dynamic work? I mean, does Odunze get the ball a lot? I mean, I know he can even play in the slot. Maybe he does. We all know DJ Moore can play in the slot. DJ Moore can play anywhere. But yeah, I mean, how are they going to use these guys? That's kind of an interesting part of it. Jeremiah mentions his edge rusher is way deeper next draft. I wouldn't mind bringing Ngakoue back on a 1 year. I mean, Ngakoue couldn't tackle people.
Yeah.
That's my problem with Ngakoue. Like, he would get to the quarterback. He'd be running straight towards the quarterback, and he wouldn't tackle him. It's like, Just hit him.
Yeah.
Hit him. And he would make a great move or an okay move. He only has like 1 or 2 moves, but I don't know about Ngakoue, but there isn't much left out there. I mean, there's some tackles still left. I mean, you still got, I think Chris Jones is still out there with the Kansas City Chiefs.
Yeah.
Who could be, he can line up at 5 technique. I mean, you sort of need a 3 technique, but I guess you go there. I mean, maybe they go edge rusher. Maybe they still have 2 second-round picks next year.
Yeah.
So they can trade one of those.
If I can piggyback just on your, just like kind of looking at the offensive, almost like there's so many mouths to feed type deal. Yeah. One of the best problems to have, I would definitely say. I mean, that's a really, really good option. But I would also you have to compare it to last season. Shane Waldron coming from Seattle. So you would think him having a similar option, having DK Metcalf, having Tyler Lockett, and then having a rookie wide receiver coming in Jackson Smith and Njigba last year. This is just repeat. Point. This is rinse and repeat. So he's gonna be able to feed DJ Moore. He's gonna be able to feed Keenan Allen. And I think later on towards the end of the year, God forbid Keenan Allen goes down, but I think Rome Odunze can just find his own somehow during the latter end of the And then tight end, of course, Cole Kmet and Gerald Everett. Gerald Everett is a target monster. He is going to have he's going to be open no matter what. I feel like he's going to be guaranteed.
Really?
Yeah. He was Justin Herbert's go-to guy last year. And I only know that because I was very, very, very avid in fantasy. That's what got the belt here, baby.
All right.
I mean, exactly. I mean, Keenan Allen, again, you're seeing the veteran status on Keenan Allen. The age, it scares me a little bit, but he had arguably his best year last year. He was leading the league for a certain amount of time. I think he got stumbled up. He got a little bit hurt, but man, the offense is stacked to the gills. I cannot wait. Again, it might just be if you're making moves, if you're adding anything else, it's going to have to be on the defensive side. And if edge rusher and defense is going to be the big part next year, because this draft was all quarterbacks, left tackles, and wide receivers. I think next year it's going to be a complete flip. So that's going to be the
both there when 16 picks go offense. I'm just glad the Bears went offense too. And I agree. I mean, a lot of good points in there. Even if Keenan Allen gets hurt, older guy, he has missed a few games in the last. Doesn't really miss a lot of games, but has missed a few games in the last couple of seasons. If he is going to miss games, it's probably going to be closer to the end of the season. You hope Odunze is already in there, and maybe Tyler Scott. I don't know. He got open last year. He
could make that jump. I don't think he's going to be. He should not be your go-to guy. But if he's on the bench, if he's getting a couple of them, I'm okay with that.
Yeah, I mean,
and download Jeremiah. Yeah, we did get the best punter. I love what Caleb Williams said to him. Not gonna be needing you much, bud. I love that. I love that. Call it cocky. I just loved. It's the.
I love it too. That's how I want my quarterback to be. I do want him to be cocky. For sure. Like, I could do it. Like, we're not gonna be punting much, but I don't. If he's the best punter in the history of the NFL, I don't take him in the 4th round. I don't take him in the 4th round. There could be somebody else there. I mean, we just talked about a couple of positions. I think the center was still up there. I mean, unless you really like, unless you, what was his name again? Inaccurate Sports Talk. Here we go. Coleman Shelton. Okay. Unless you really like him. Or Doug Kramer, who was your pick. I mean, if you really like those guys at center, that's fine. But I mean, maybe you could have found a center there. You like the punter? You like the punter pickup?
It's kind of crazy when I'm thinking about it, and I'm going to say it, but he's going to need a 10-year career to be like, for sure, that was a good pick. But if he's booting it as well as they say they are, I'm fine with that. If they just made he made Iowa football relevant, so damn near impossible.
Well, they couldn't play. He had like 10 punts a game. They couldn't play offense.
But he was hitting them back. That's what it was job. He was.
I hear. Yeah, I hear he's pretty good. And some of these because he's Australian. Some of which I'm sure the fans are gonna like. But
Well, you're
Some
going
of
to see
them.
a lot of fans drinking shoeies this year. That's going to
Oh,
be the
I'm
go-to.
sure.
Oh, I
I'm
love it.
sure. But I hear that he's played like some of these Australian punters, because there has been a lot of Australian punters lately, which I didn't even know. But anyway, I read an article about it, and they were saying, but he's played in more of a that they play a different style to kick punts, but he's been more in a normal style to kick punts, so he should be ready for the NFL as well. I can't believe we're talking about a punter, but I mean, but I guess you need a decent punter. I mean, but man,
Hey,
I would have.
I mean, people scoff, and again, I might sound like I'm trying to make a joke, but special teams is important. Special teams has lost a couple of teams games this year. I mean, just ask Packer fans. Like it's not all it's cracked up to be. So it's important. It is important to a certain degree. Again, fourth rounder, I trust polls. I've trust polls up until this point. Why stray away now?
Yeah, I mean, I do trust him. I just don't trust this organization. So I got to see it. Like I said, when we were at the draft night, I got to see it first. I mean, this is still the organization that did treat us like a dad who goes to get a pack of cigarettes and doesn't come home for 20 years. Like they did treat us like that for a while now.
As soon as you do well, hey, what's going on? Did you get my call? Yeah, okay, thanks.
Didn't you get my birthday card? No, Dad, fuck you.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know why you guys don't believe me that Bates is going to start at center. So he's still on this Bates thing. So that's Bates. He's the guy from Buffalo. I don't even know if they have him on Ryan Bates. They have him backing up Tevin Jenkins at left guard. Which I don't know. Maybe he will end up being a center. He did play some center in Buffalo.
It sounds like they're just getting guys that could play multiple positions, and that's kind of what there was the left tackle pick from the guy from Yale yeah. So I mean that's what I got from that. Just being versatile at the line, being able to play multiple positions. I think that's good. If that was the mindset there for that pick.
Yeah, I mean, I'm guessing that's what it was. What else are you gonna? I mean,
played a little bit of center, played a little bit of guard, no tackles.
Yeah, they need guys to shuffle around, be swingmen. So I get that. I just don't. I don't know. It just seemed like Coleman played more games at center last year, Jeremiah. I don't know what else to say. But hey, if they can at least hike the ball and get it to the quarterback. It's a plus for me. Yale is not exactly known for their football. Yeah, I get it, but the guy's giant. He's from Chicago. Amagaji. I'm guessing that's who Shanna's talking about. He's big, and he's I guess it does kind of matter to me that he's from Chicago a little bit.
He's a Bears fan. He was deleting old tweets. That was pretty good. Like those were like good morning, especially to Justin Fields, or like good morning only to Justin Fields. Like I guess like the offensive line must have cooked him over. So yeah, he had to go back and scrub the Twitter real quick.
Yeah. Doubting Thomas says, in the good old days, a father could move one town over and start a new life and a new family. Yeah, the internet. That's why the internet sucks, Doubting Thomas, because guys can move they just move a town over and start a new life. Get the Don Draper moniker off your damn YouTube thing. Oh my God. I guess, yeah, you could. I mean, no one's going to find you unless you're going to get eggs and, the wife walks in and is like, where the hell have you been for 5 years?
Growing this mustache.
Yeah, going as a mustache, going as a disguise.
Yeah.
You draft tackles, and if they can't play, you move them to guard. That makes sense because they're still big. I mean, that's what Tevin Jenkins has basically been. They thought he could be a right tackle or even a left tackle at a time, and now he's a pretty good guard. I mean, the guy's like a moose. Well, I think that's unless you have anything else to say, Nick. I think that's the best time to end it right there. It was a lot of fun having you here. Unless you have anything else on the Bears, anything else you want to say?
No, if anything, I'll just plug away really quick. I mean, basically every single day you can catch me on twitch.tv/SportsTownShy for between Blow the Whistle, like you mentioned at the top. I got Low Blow Sports with the boy Brandon Combs. and a couple other. We got Scotty Kiefer and Kobe Burke as well. I do my own little thing on the YouTube side, No Substitute for Sports. And then if you want to listen to any wrestling, Bad Karma Wrestling Fridays on the X-Bomb Twitch page. So that's always fun. I think they also go live on the YouTube, so that's always good. But
are you simulcasting any of the wrestling? Like actually, like while it's on? I don't even think you could do that. But
now that's actually something that they were able to talk about after the whole Dave and Buster's thing. Our boy Double D, we were able to talk to one of the managers. Might be able to pull some strings and get a watch party going. Exactly right. You wouldn't be able to broadcast and watch us watching the actual pay-per-view, but it would just be like us reacting and watching it. But yeah, that would be the thing there. But again, honestly, thank you for the invite over here. I appreciate the time and this. I mean, you boys are always killing it on here. I'm chiming in when you guys are going live. So if it's glad I was able to
appreciate it.
Hold my own, and yeah, exactly that. So I mean,
and if they want to find you on Facebook, they would just go to Nick Johnston on Facebook.
Nick Johnston. My Twitter is njohnston6351, and the No Substitute for Sports page is at Degenerates. So made it nice and easy. Degenerates with 3 A's.
All right, Windy City sports fans, look up Nick Johnston. Give him hell, but be nice to him. He is a Sox fan.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, we'll see you all next week. Tell your friends, tell your lovers, tell your enemies to listen to Windy City Sports Talk.
How's it taste, motherfucker?
Can you stop yelling at me, please?
No, I can't stop yelling, because that's how I talk. You ain't never seen my movies? Samuel Jackson, it's my beer. Yes, they deserve to die, and I hope they burn in hell.